uh, recording. Um, so welcome to Tuesday at 10. I've got a fairly full agenda here to run through. A little bit more on the Compass Anywhere deal. So we discussed the fact that Compass Realty is purchasing Anywhere, which owns Century 21 and a number of other real estate brokerages. And that deal is expected to close the second half of 2026.
Who's
So,
buying it?
huh?
Who's buying it? Compass?
Compass is buying Anywhere, and Anywhere is the parent company for Century 21. I forget who the other companies are, but several large brokerages are owned by Anywhere, and now they will be owned by Compass. So they're increasing their footprint. Now, we probably won't see a lot of impact from that merger until the second half of 2026 when it closes. However, those companies knowing that they're being acquired may start doing some things that line up with how Compass does business. So just as an FYI, that's when it's expected to close. Um, the other regulatory thing is that the Federal Trade Commission, FTC, has sued Zillow and Redfin relative to their rental businesses. And basically, they're accusing the Zillow Redfin deal of violating Sherman antitrust laws. And so they have sued to stop that situation. And basically, what the situation was that Redfin agreed to stop advertising rentals and only advertise them on Zillow so that Zillow would have a bigger share of the rental business between Zillow and Redfin. But they are using the Zillow platform, not the Redfin platform. And so it remains to be seen what the Federal Trade Commission will do with that particular situation. And not a lot going on with NAR. I think there is another buyer lawsuit pending, but nothing going on with that right now. So nothing that affects us. Um, uh, in terms of what we were just talking about, which is uh, land. Land is one of the areas where you can get yourself in trouble. And so, as a real estate professional, you want to be careful working outside of your area of expertise, and it requires more caution. So, let me give you the situation that I'm talking about. So, a well known, highly successful residential real estate agent received a request from a local manufacturer to help locate a new business space. The manufacturer wanted vacant land to build on. The agent had been selling homes for nearly 20 years, and he welcomed the opportunity to finally put his commercial real estate license to use. The problem is that though widely considered an expert in residential transactions, the agent was inexperienced in commercial real estate. So here's the mistake that was made. The agent found a perfect location, but he was asked to use non-standard documents and a non-standard purchase agreement written by the seller. While negotiating the contract, the agent misunderstood the non-standard contract and he failed to have the client request an attorney review of the contract. So the result of this was that after the purchase, the buyer realized that he would not be able to build on this land as previously thought. The contract had specific language that prevented the local manufacturer from building on the new business space due to zoning issues. The buyer then consulted a real estate litigation lawyer who informed him that his agent should have referred the transaction to an experienced commercial real estate agent. A lawsuit was brought against the buyer's agent alleging breach of fiduciary duty among theories of liability. So, how could this have been prevented? Working outside of your area of expertise can be an exciting challenge, but it comes with extra risk. In addition to consulting with experts when necessary, it's important to use standard forms or approved attorney forms to avoid unnecessary risk. In this case, the agent should have consulted a commercial real estate agent, even if it necessitated the payment of a fee or share of the commission. This could have saved the agent from a costly lawsuit and a compromised reputation. World travels fast in real estate circles, especially if an agent or broker fails to properly protect a client. So we want to make sure that if we're wandering out of our area of expertise, then we want to be sure to either be very careful or maybe refer it. So if it's a commercial deal, you're probably better off to refer to a commercial agent and get a finder fee, and that way you remove yourself from the liability that will be potentially incurred. The second thing to take away from this is whenever you're faced with non-standard forms, and this can even be a residential purchase where you are given a non-standard form. You are not licensed to practice law, and you are not able to interpret that form for your buyer or seller. So if you receive a non-standard purchase agreement on a property, you can't tell them what it says because you're not a lawyer. So they need to consult with a lawyer to tell them what the contract says. Or you need to counter back with forms, IAR forms that you can interpret. So that's kind of your choice. So beware of practicing outside your area of expertise. Uh, Also, I wanted to remind you again that there is a new updated seller disclosure. Any listings that you have that are currently on the market should have that new disclosure. If they don't, you need to get that new disclosure signed immediately because that's the law in the state of Indiana. So you have to use the new seller's disclosure and beware, it's 4 pages.
Oh,
So the buyer has to sign in 4 places, or a seller has to sign in 4 places on the form. The buyer has to sign in 4 places on the form. And so it's important to watch for that. I had I did the new seller's disclosure for a listing of mine, and um, when I got it back, they had signed the first 3 pages. I didn't notice that they hadn't signed the fourth page, and so we had to then correct that later on after the purchase, which isn't the best situation. But so just beware. There are 4 pages, 4 places where they have to sign. Make sure you check all 4 places. Same thing if you're representing a buyer with the new seller's disclosure. And that's what you should be seeing at this point from all listings. You should see the new seller's disclosure because that's the law. That's what's required in the state of Indiana. Um, and so the buyer has to sign in 4 places too. So just keep that in mind. It's something different, but it's what we have to the environment that we have to live with. Um, and then uh, I think that this time of year, a lot of people ask you questions. Is this still a good time to buy, or is the real estate market, this isn't a good time of year to buy or sell? You know, and we know that it tends to decline this time of year. So we see a decline from September into October. Typically, October's lower sales in September, same thing in November, and then December, and then January it starts going back up again. However, there's still this can still be a good time for buyers, and it can actually be better for buyers right now. So, your home prices tend to peak in the summer and then begin to decline. Um, Typically, Indiana's median sale price falls an average of 6.5% from the end of August through October. So that's typically a sales decline. And there tend to be more homes for sale. Um, in past, for instance, there's 25% more homes for sale in 2025 than there were in 2024. And the supply generally keeps rising through November because of the way that it's declining. So sellers are motivated. So they're more willing to bargain there because there's more houses on the market. Days on market is extended, so buyers don't have to rush generally. So there's always exceptions to these rules, but it isn't a bad time for a buyer to look to buy a home, particularly if they're not changing schools or anything like that. There's no reason to not buy in September, and it could be an advantage for buyers to be able to negotiate better prices and have more choices. Um, so that's from IAR. Now, MIBOR, some updates on MIBOR. You should receive a email with a link in it to ask you to take the tech survey. So the MIBOR tech survey is out and it asks you for your opinion on the MIBOR technology tools. So if you don't like uh, BLC Connect, then now's your time to make yourself known. Or if you don't like Broker Bay, then you can let them know that you're not happy with that software. Now, whether they make changes or not, that's up to them. We already know that sometimes they ignore uh, surveys that they put out there. But this is your time to speak up. So when you see the link in your email, take the survey. It'll probably take 5 or 10 minutes to do the survey, but it's the way for you and for us collectively as real estate agents and real estate brokers to get our voice heard by our local association. If you have not paid your tech fees, which I'm sure most of you have, or all of you, but if you haven't, they're past due now, and you will owe I think it's a $50 penalty for not paying your fees on time. So tech fees are past due, and so if you haven't paid your tech fees, that you probably won't be able to access the BLC. And so if you try to log in and you're not able to access something, make sure you paid your dues. Um, Now I want to talk a little bit about Realty World and give you some Realty World updates here. Uh, so if you go to Railium.net, and I'm just going to go ahead and share my screen on this um, so that you see. Okay, right now you should be seeing ChatGPT Masterclass on your screen. And this is put out by Woo Kim, who's the Link Me guy. And it's titled ChatGPT Masterclass or 5 AI Hacks Every Agent Should Know. This is a great class. I've taken this class myself. Woo Kim does an excellent job. He's a very uh, good at explaining ChatGPT. And so I highly recommend that you go on your Relium dashboard. It's us.relium.net right up here. Um, Go on your dashboard and you will see this class and you can just click on it It takes you to YouTube and you can watch this class. It's definitely worth watching. So I recommend that you do that. The second thing to keep in mind is we have these little hey, did you know videos. They're very short, but they've got a new one out now. It's about the Realty World Rock On Award, and a number of you did win the Rock On Award last year, and hopefully some more of you will earn it again this year. And but this explains what that award is all about. So take a few minutes to watch that video, and then on Wednesday, the 8th from 10 to 1. So Wednesday the 8th from 10, I'm sorry, not from 10 to 1, at 1 o'clock Eastern time, 10 o'clock Pacific time, but we're on Eastern time. So at 1 o'clock from 1 to 2 in the afternoon, we have a webinar with Gabrielle Jeans, and it's called High Conversion Tactics. High conversion tactics. And so this is uh, Gabrielle always has lots of great information to help you improve your business and help you generate more sales for yourself. So I just wanted to point out those two things. And again, you can go to your Relium dashboard to see that. Um, the next update that I have concerns a meeting on October 16th. So I want you to all mark your calendars on October 16th in conference room number one, main floor conference room. We will have a business planning session for our regular group meeting. So we'll have a group meeting on that day. Lunch will be served. Probably we'll do Jimmy John's for a change since we've had pizza the last few meetings. So we'll probably have Jimmy John's this time. So any rate, mark your calendars, set aside that time so that you can be present. And we're going to start writing a business plan during that session. So please plan to attend that group meeting. We will also have awards, production awards, and things of that sort, and important information about what's going on in the real estate industry. So please mark your calendars. The October 16th, which is a Thursday, from noon to 1:30. Meeting will be noon to 1:30. Okay. So any questions? This is a time that I open it up to questions. If you have a question on any topic, doesn't have to be the things that we just talked about, any topic, um, ask your questions. So unmute yourself and ask.
Why do they like dot loop at Tucker so much?
Good question because I hate Dotloop.
I I always made fun of the people that in their agent remarks would write something like only offers in PDF forms or something like that. I'm
Yeah,
about ready to start doing it.
yeah,
Or just say no dot loop.
yeah. I don't like Dotloop either. I do like the way DocuSign always attach, well, almost always. I've had a few times where DocuSign has not attached the PDF for some unknown reason. And
I've
then,
had a couple of those. Yeah.
yeah, and then you have to click just like dot loop to get the daggone document. So, yeah, I'm with you, Sean. I don't like the way dot loop works. Uh, and I don't like it when DocuSign does that either. So yeah. Well, and my guess is it's a Howard Hanna thing. Howard Hanna owns uh, Tucker, the FC Tucker company, and so I'm sure Howard Hanna has some kind of a company-wide agreement, just like we do at Realty World. We have a company-wide agreement with DocuSign. I'm sure they have a company-wide agreement with Dotloop, and so they've decided somebody in their corporate environment has decided to use dot loop. Now, I will say, I've used all three, DocuSign, dot loop, and uh, SkySlope. And of those, SkySlope is the best, but it's very expensive. And so not many brokerages use it because of the expense. Uh, but between DocuSign and dot loop, I think DocuSign is way better. So there's that aspect of it. Um, so any other questions?
Is anybody seeing low appraisals?
Anybody?
Like,
Yes. Um, the
No,
house that I closed on Harrison on Lawrence Township, we put the offer at 210 and it came at 190. So it was 20,000 under and we couldn't fight it. But and then another one that I just closed, they actually did two appraising in the house, but both of them came right at the right price. So it's weird.
okay,
I guess it's just the area.
yeah.
Have you seen some low ones, Sean?
Um, yeah, I've had, yeah. I mean, not my personal deals, but I had a phone call about a low one, and then somebody else was worried about a low one, and I just wondered with kind of shifting towards the buyers if the appraisers are kind of getting scared to, you know, put the big value on it.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm guessing, although in Marco's case that was a lower end property, I'm surprised that it failed to appraise.
Yeah, entry level, that surprises me for sure.
Yeah, yeah, I'm too. I kind of expected a little bit in some of the more expensive homes, particularly if you get an offer right away at a high price. Um, so yeah. Any other?
last few mortgages I've done, I haven't seen anything, Sean. But the realtors of the mortgages were sure worried about it in the process.
Okay,
So
yeah, that's what I've been hearing, and I was just wondering, yeah.
Yeah,
Well, there's another one that we just got an accepted offer. It's supposed to be a new build, but they priced it. I think the original price was over 300,000, and they lowered it to 285. And that's the one I'm kind of concerned because that one is the biggest house in the neighborhood, and I have not seen a house being more than 260 in that area. So that's the one I'm worried about.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't blame you. I would be worried about that too. Yeah. Any other thoughts or questions? Okay, I want to talk a little bit about what to expect in 2026. We don't have a lot of time left, but I want to start putting some thoughts in your mind prior to our business plan session on the 16th about 2026 and some things that I see that you probably need to think about. One of the key things that you need to think about is AI, artificial intelligence. Um, you need to learn how to use it or be left behind. I think we're going to see more and more use of AI in the real estate industry. If you're not using it, you're going to look um, like you don't understand technology to buyers and sellers. So you probably need to start using AI if you haven't. Like I say, there's that great Chat GBT masterclass that you can watch on the Relium website. And by the way, that's not a, you can watch that anytime. So you can watch it on your time, and you could watch it right after this meeting, in fact. Um, but that will bring you up to speed on some of the basics on using Chat GBT. And I think in 2026, if you don't know how to use ChatGPT or I think you're going to get left behind uh, as a realtor. Um, Second thing I think you need to keep in your mind is that if you don't grow your business, it will decline. And that includes even, I have a lot of people tell me, oh, well, I have a referral based business. And so I'm not interested in generating new leads and et cetera. Okay, that's fine. But the reality is, if you don't build your business, even your referral-based business, you will see a decline in revenue. That's been documented over and over and over again. So if you want your business to maintain revenue or grow your revenue, then you have to do something to grow your business. Now, it doesn't mean you have to go out and buy a bunch of ads somewhere, but it does mean that you need to add people to your database. Number one, you need to be adding people to your referral base. So if you're building a referral-based business, which I highly recommend, you need to be adding people. I add people all the time to my personal database because it naturally happens uh, in my sphere of influence. So I wear around so people know I'm in real estate. Uh, and so constantly people are asking me, hey, how's the real estate market? What's going on in real estate? And so then I have that conversation. And then later on, they say, hey, could you help me sell my house? Could you help me buy my house? Buy a house. And so, you get business that way that maybe not was in your original database. So, uh, and again, the key is trying to develop those people over time. And so, so that when it's time, they will call you. You have a client. I sold them a house years ago, and they've lived in it for a number of years. I was a Tucker agent at the time, so that tells you how long ago it was. Uh, but I just got a call from them. So I've been very regular at sending things out through my CRM to them, newsletters, making regular contact with them, and and as a result of that, they see me as their realtor. And so they saw some land for sale in Carmel that they thought would be of interest to them. And so who did they call? They called me. And so then I was able to go out and show them that land. Now, they haven't purchased yet. They didn't buy that land. But I know now what they're interested in, and I can proactively look for them and maybe suggest some listings to them to go see. So it's a way of building your business so it doesn't decline. Okay. Use of technology will rule. So not only do you need to know how to use ChatGPT, you need to know how to use all of your technology. That means your CRM. That means your lockbox system. That means your MLS BLC system. You need to know how to use this technology, and you need to play it up in your buyer presentation and your seller presentation that you're an expert in use of technology because technology rules. People expect you to be an expert in technology now. And so you need to be able to demonstrate that you are an expert with technology by making sure that you understand how it all works. I'm amazed at the number of buyer's agents that call me up to do a showing and want the code to the lockbox. And I tell them it's a master lock. You use Broker Bay to open the lock for your showing. You don't need a code. They think they need a code. It's crazy. That means that they don't know how to use Broker Bay. They have no idea how to do it, and they think the only way they can access an electronic lockbox is if you give them a code, a manual code to punch in. It's just crazy. It's just crazy. Um, so your use of technology is going to rule in 2026. You can count on costs going up. I may have to raise my fees. I don't know yet. But everything's going up. My office rent is going up. I'm sure that the E&O will go up this year. It has every year. So I'm sure E&O will increase. So the costs of doing business for me are increasing. So I know that the costs of doing business for you are increasing as well. Insurance, all the things that you pay for in your business, everything's going up. So I think we just have to realize, hey, that's the environment that we're in. Costs increase. I do my best to keep my cost as low as I possibly can, but I have to make a profit. If I don't make a profit, then what am I doing in business? So I have to make sure I make a profit. We may see right now. I think we're in a balanced market in most price ranges. We may see a seller market return in 2026. Um, from the standpoint, there's still no solution to inventory. We don't have any more inventory than we had in years past. And so, even though this year we didn't see as much of a seller market, I think we may see more of a seller market in 2026. Time will tell, but that's my guess is that a seller market may return and partially driven by just a flat lack of inventory, period, and partially driven by people still sitting on low interest rates and not selling their property. So I think that we're going to see more of a potential seller's market. I think we're going to see pressure on commissions. Um, so I think what we're going to see is that so if you go in and list a property, and let's say you give your seller a discount. I just had this happen on one of my properties. So I gave the seller a discount, um, a commission. So when we got a offer on the property, in the offer it had a higher commission rate. Well, they balked at paying that. They said, "Why should I pay the buyer agent more than I'm paying you?" And so they negotiated it down, and the buyer ended up negotiating it down in the purchase agreement. So the buyer's agent did not get what they thought they were going to get because the seller negotiated it down and they wanted to do the deal for the buyer, for their buyer. So I think we're going to see more of that, uh, which means that it's probably a good idea to list as high as you can. That way, so if you can list it at whatever percentage it might be, it doesn't matter. The number doesn't matter. But if you list it higher, then your seller's less likely to say, "Hey, why should I pay you more than them?" It'll probably be the same amount or lower, and in which case they're going to be fine with that commission, and it's not going to be negotiating point in the purchase agreement. So I think we will see that more in the coming 2026 because people are now getting more and more used to negotiating in the purchase agreement and what that means. Um, Also, I think we will probably see more consolidation. So I think the Compass Anywhere deal is just the beginning. I think that we will see more consolidation in the real estate industry, and maybe even consolidation among the MLSs. Um, there could even be a move to a national MLS. There's been a lot of talk about that of moving that direction, and it's possible that we could see that kind of move in 2026. It just depends on what the local MLSs do, but more and more of them are selling or consolidating with other MLSs, and so I think we will see more of that in 2026. And so those are some of the things to think about as we move forward to 2026 and make plans for in what you're doing and how you're marketing yourself and how you're marketing properties, both from a seller perspective as well as from working with buyers. So, any questions on that? Okay, that concludes our